Greetings, everybody. We're back around the table again today to bring you another episode of fun-filled action. And let's kick it off with Dennis before he can say any smart aleck comment to me about that.
Fun-filled action indeed. It's the Contigo.
Contigo!
It does have its own war cry, so
It sure does.
it's a good one.
Contigo is not the knife I'm carrying today.
No.
New acquisition for me. Not his old one.
Nope, I still own one.
Yep. But now there's two. We own too much of the same stuff. We need to start etching our names into some for now.
No, you can just carry it for a week and then it'll look corroded enough where you can tell the difference.
My knife is not going to end up in his pocket ever.
What do you think I'm going to do to my knife?
You know what you'll do.
You know what you'll do. And this week I'm carrying the Lionsdale SR1.
Big red.
Yeah.
It's
a fun one.
A lot of good.
It's a freaky aluminum frame lock.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I have my Crooked River with the Banksia pod.
Bunch of big knives around the table today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's what we do sometimes.
Sometimes.
And before we get to the knife of the week, I just want to do a quick shout out to an Instagram influencer. Goes by the name Mr. Fisk. Thank you very much for the 5.714285714%. You know what that is.
Yeah, we really appreciate that increase in growth that you helped us out with there.
I think you just solved for R.
Yeah.
Well, that solves that argument.
So this week we have a very, very special treat for you all. It is a very limited edition, prestigious, Benchmade gold class Crooked River.
If you haven't already read the
It's-
title to this video, that's what this is.
Yeah, it is a fancy one.
And we would try to keep it a secret in the title. That's not good for views.
No.
It really is.
No.
It's hard to find a knife review when it doesn't say what the review is in the title.
Indeed. So this guy is featuring a 20 CV blade, really pretty Damasteel bolsters there. Really funky cracked ice finish for the pocket clip and backspacer. And then some really funky machine jeweling on the inside of the liners as well.
Fairly decked out.
That it is. It's gold class. That's
Yeah.
what they do.
They gave it a 20 CV blade. Do you remember the coating type that they gave?
I do not off the top of my
I'm
head.
pretty sure it's a DLC.
I'm pretty sure as well. We'll annotate if we're wrong, but reasonably certain it's a DLC.
Mm-hmm. So at a overall length of 9.3 inches, it would take about 16 Alberta stag beetles to equal the length of this knife.
Ew.
How big are the beetles?
I,
Fairly small.
Like 1/16 the length of this
Yeah.
knife, I guess.
All right.
You would not
Like a
need-
half inch.
You wouldn't need 16 to pick it up. Like 2 or 3, they can pick this thing up, carbon fiber.
Oh,
It's
that's horrifying.
just take it away.
The strong beetles.
So,
Well-
sorry, we won't have a knife to return back to.
That's the excuse you're going
They
with?
were hijacked by Alberta stag beetles.
well, you might think that it's lightweight because of the carbon fiber in it, but this knife actually weighs 6.1 ounces, or 6.01 ounces, and it would take about 300 Barbados thread snakes to equal the weight of this knife.
I don't even have a mental image for what that looks like. Are they
No.
like little noodles?
Yeah, they're like tiny.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah, very tiny. Part of the Isla snake families.
That'd be like a nightmare. You reach for your brand new gold class, and then as soon as you grab it, it just turns into these snakes.
Just a
Six-
handful of worms, essentially.
All 600 of them.
Yep.
I don't like any of that.
You're
None of
really
it.
going to like it when I say, what do you think chicken noodle soup's made out of? So we're going to say scores?
Yep.
We're going to get on that?
Yep.
Round it out? Yeah, for sure. I'll go first. I actually gave this bad boy a 71. Overall, I had to dock it for both cost categories, whether it was materials, whether it was fit or finish. For what you're paying for this knife, it's absolutely crazy on some of the things that I think it needed to be improved to match that price point, right? Everything else actually over top got 8s and 9s. The two categories I did dock it for was 6 for pocket ergonomics. It's a little bigger, a little heavier than what I normally like to carry. This is one of the few exceptions to that rule, but I mean, yeah. And the other thing was enthusiasm. I gave it a 5 because overall, just I couldn't get jacked up about it because of the price that the tag on it. So
I think it's going to be a similar song around the table. For myself, yeah, 8s and 9s across the board. It ended up with a 70, which is a C. I really like the design. I like the execution, but when you look at the price and you factor that in, I gave it a 2 for cost versus materials. I really think that for what they're offering, just fell a little bit short of what I would have expected. Yeah, and like Dennis said, a little bit hard to get ramped up for this knife when the price is so high.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I gave it an 80 overall, which is a B. I knocked it for both cost versus fit and finish and cost versus materials. It got a 6 in both of those categories. It got 8 for cutting ability and ergonomic execution. I really like the way it feels. It's just kind of a neutral with a single finger twirl, and I really like that. Outside of that, on the personal side of things, as far as me and my material choice, you can't really kill me.
It's hard to beat that.
It's hard to beat titanium, Damasteel, 20 CV, carbon fiber. I'm happy across the board. And yeah.
And for once, I'm not a hater. I actually ended up giving this guy a 78, which is a nice solid B. As with everyone else, the things that took a dive on the scores were the cost versus categories. And then for the personal, it was all 8s and 9s across the board. It's obviously a knife that I really enjoy already, so make it fancy, and chances are I'm going to enjoy the fancy version of it too.
Yeah, I think everything about this knife is absolutely fantastic. It loses it.
Except for the cost.
Yeah, that's the big roadblock there.
Indeed it is. So yeah, there's all 4 of our scores there for everyone to compare and contrast with. And would like to give a giant thank out to the Cutting Edge this week for letting us play with this crazy fanciness.
Not a thank you, but a thank out.
Thank out.
I'm coining it. It's a thing now.
You know, when a knife costs $2K, you know what? I'm not sure if a lot of viewers come into this knowing that a gold class could be that expensive, but thank you for trusting us with this knife.
Very much so, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think the MSRP was $1,400 American.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, they've let us play with a lot of cool things, but even letting us just be able to check this one out, we really truly appreciate it. So
most definitely.
Yeah, and that being said, this is Nigel the Smith signing off.
I am who I am. I'm Dennis Vipers.
I am the Iron Joe.
XL.ca.
We will catch you again later on in the week.